So listen up very closely, because I know that if you're watching this video, then more than likely, you're not happy in your marriage. You're not happy with the level of respect, admiration, and affection you receive from your wife daily. And you know you deserve all of that and more. You might have even told yourself lies like this. I'm just in a marriage rut that I'll eventually get out of. All couples face these problems in marriage. She'll eventually come around. Here's the truth of it. It's actually not your fault. No one teaches you the skills that I'm going to show you in today's video, but it is your responsibility to fix the things once you discover what I'm about to give you. Now, I know that if you're watching this, then you probably already tried a lot of things to save your marriage. You probably tried reading a bunch of books, maybe other courses out there, talking to friends and family, possibly even seeing a therapist. However, here's the hidden truth as to why those things don't actually work. The truth is that it's not that you're not trying hard enough. You are. It's that you just aren't using the right tools for your situation. And you're also using tools of the past, because those methods, they actually used to work when a wife is considering divorce. But times have changed, and so have the needs of women in a relationship. So today I have something special for you. I'm combining 3 different video topics across this channel into one master video on how to save your marriage when she's no longer in love anymore. I am going to break down the top 5 mistakes that send men all the way back to stage 1 with their wife, and then the 5 key paradoxes to master with a unique action that you must take in order to progress all the way back to stage 5 with her. The first biggest mistake that I see pretty much every single guy that makes with their wife when she starts to pull away is neediness. It creates that slow descent into despair and emptiness and hopelessness away from attraction, intimacy, and connection. Across these 5 different shifts, I'm going to show you how it happens, why it happens, explain the paradox, give you a testimonial example of a guy who uses the correct action, and then give you that simple action to take. Let's face the truth of it. You started sacrificing who you were for happiness and peace. One of the main desires for men is peace, is stillness. Because oftentimes in your job, in your career, you're out there fighting the chaos, right? You're in the game, you are in the battlefield. So when you come home, you wanted a place of peace. You'll see so many men talk about this, how their wife needs to give them complete peace, but it's wrong. A woman will never give you peace all the time. You have to earn it. Okay, and I'll expand on this later in the future paradoxes, but just know that your desire for peace and avoiding conflict means you started sacrificing little things at first. You started not doing the hobbies that you like. You didn't go to the gym. You stopped hanging out with certain friends that you like. You stopped doing certain activities. You stopped doing things that made you who you were. I remember talking with a client about this, and he said that he used to love playing soccer like myself. And ever since he got married, he just stopped playing soccer and he loved it. And when I heard about this, I was like, she didn't get to be your cheerleader. The thing is that she's not even rejecting fully you. Who you've been recently, this anxious wreck, is that who you really are? No, that is this anxious, nervous person who just is fearful, and that's not really you, but that's who you've been. You've sacrificed so much of yourself to keep the peace. This is why I hate the term happy wife equals happy life, because that implies that you have to sacrifice your own happiness to make her happy. It's almost like she is your drug, this connection, this love, this intimacy. And so over time, you would do anything to get that drug back. But the more you sacrifice yourself, the less of the drug she gave you. And then you were just fiending for more, and you would do anything to get it. And I worked with drug addicts. The things that you would do neurologically speaking to get that high is you would try to kill someone. Now, you didn't go that far with your wife, but in a way you were killing yourself. You were killing your soul just to make the peace.
I think she sees me as having the strength to pick up and move on without her if she's going to play those games. She says she is stunned. I think she senses that I'm stronger than she thought I was.
Yeah. Yep.
I think she senses that I'm not afraid anymore. If she came to me today, if she got mad today and broke up with me today, I'd be disappointed. I'd be sad. I'd be hurt. I'm not going to let it rip my heart out again. That's why I think she's approaching me different.
And so you're touching on something that I really want to solidify right now, David, which is I use it for many different names, but the name I use the most in the program is the attraction paradox of wanting her but not needing her. And
say that again.
The attraction paradox of wanting her but not needing her, right? That is the ultimate attractive mindset, right? To know that you desire her. Yes, you want her in your life. Your life is better with her, but you don't need her to feel complete. And a lot of men in the program, they talk about letting go. And it's kind of the same process, right? Where you're letting go of the need for her in your life. So what is the paradox here? The paradox is the paradox of attraction, in that you must want your wife. The greatest feeling a woman can have is to be desired and simultaneously not to be owned. And neediness is that desire plus owning, which makes her feel completely unsafe, that you're going to attach to her, that you are I don't want to be graphic here, but that you are an emotional leech. It feels gross and it's subtly communicated in the energy, in the way you say things, not what you say. She can even feel it when you're not saying anything. You must detach from needing her. Now, the simple action that I will give you in this video that helps so many men detach is I want you to write a list. Write a list of everything that she gives you, not just physically, like sex, communication, attention, love, but emotionally. How does she make you feel? And then ask yourself, can you give those emotions to yourself? Because at the end of the day, everything she does for you externally, she makes you feel a certain way. We talk about, women being emotional, but we're emotional creatures as human beings. And she's giving you a feeling, a state of being. You think these thoughts of like, oh, I feel safe with her. She's with me. That woman's gonna be by my side. I don't have to be alone. At the end of the day, when you write down a list of everything she gives you, and then ask yourself, look at it on paper, say, can I give these things to myself? What that does is it shows you that what she's giving you is an illusion, that only she can give it to you. You are creating in your head that she is this special person. I know you have a history with her, I get that. But because you're putting her on this pedestal, you feel less than. And a woman will never be with a man that feels less than. So remove the illusion of her greatness. She's a great woman, I'm sure you love her to death, I understand that. But she has her flaws too. And she is not so unique that you can't meet your own needs yourself. And this helps detach from needing her. For the second mistake here, those moments where she's just laying into you. Maybe she's not doing that anymore, but maybe she used to, maybe she still is. And you're just like, oh, you get so angry. So she's saying she's pressing your button. She knows the exact words to say to piss you off, to get you to react, to get defensive, to dismiss her, to try to, no. If you saw that my way, that's BS, right? I get it. But the mistake here is that you are reacting. A true authentic man that makes his wife feel safe, that woman that wants to be with that guy, he doesn't react. He can feel those emotions, but he doesn't act on them. Reaction. He's able to discern the difference between that initial emotion of like his nervous system and then have that space between. And that's what creates new action. That's what makes you a new man in her eyes. Now, how this happens, well, I was at a networking event last night and I was telling women what I did, these women at a table, other guys too. But as soon as I say what I do, women are like, oh, really? You say marriage is right? And so I started talking about my philosophy about how a man should lead in a relationship. That's controversial because, a lot of women are the leaders a lot of times in relationships. And I said, well, that's not, in accordance with our biology. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but I work off the rule because that's the majority. I can't go into nuance all the time, especially on camera to millions of people. What do you think they did? They argued with me. They disagreed with me. They were testing me to see my resolve, to see if I would change my opinion, and I didn't. Right? You have to understand the way this happens is because she will always test you. She wants you to not react. She wants you to pass her tests. And the paradox here is that a lot of men get this confused because you don't react to her, but you do take her feedback. There is a paradox there. How can you change based on her feedback, but not be reactive to her? And the difference here is that you must understand the difference between your behavior and who you are as a man. See, most oftentimes a woman tests, she's calling out your behavior, your perceptions. Is that who you really are? No. But because you attach these ideas of your behaviors to who you actually are, you get offended, right? It stems back from childhood. We're not going to go into it in this video. But the idea here is to be able to take her feedback, understand it, empathize with her, but you don't always have to agree. Whenever she criticizes you, understand, and this is the analogy I want you to think of next time. You can visualize this the next time you're with her. It's based in neuro-linguistic programming, which is the idea that we use images to change the way we feel and think. I got this from an NLP practitioner that I worked with. He said, the next time you are talking to your wife and she is being venomous, she's attacking you, imagine you have this invisible force field and you see the words that she says stopping at this force field. It creates a barrier, a space between what she says and it actually impacting you. Practically speaking, just deeply breathe, hold that space and recognize this is how she feels right now in the moment. Take everything that she says and put I feel before the sentence and right now after. Because that's how she feels that she's gonna express that, but you don't have to latch onto it like it's truth. And a lot of men make that mistake. There's even a really good book, I believe it's by Paul Bloom, and he talks about the difference between two types of empathy. There's cognitive empathy and emotional empathy. Now, most people, they fall into emotional empathy in that they feel the emotions of the other person. And he proved through his book, the best therapists, coaches, doctors, they didn't practice emotional empathy, they practiced cognitive empathy, which means when your wife is yelling, screaming, doing this, whatever, it makes you emotional, you're actually able to empathize, have theory of mind. Oh, I understand cognitively why she feels that way, but you don't have to feel the emotions she's feeling. And the therapists and coaches and doctors that practice that actually were more effective because they weren't sucked in to the drama of their client or their wife.
And that night she broke the boundary. We got into a kind of an argument. Well, she got kind of mad at me and because I brought something up after, she had started talking about things. And I just kept cool. I was calm. I was like, I'm not going to fight with her. There's no point. She's like, I have to go. I'm getting out of here. She just wanted to leave the room, because she got heated. And so I was like, okay. And she left. And then, I just chilled and calm. She texted me like 10 minutes later, do you want to come upstairs and eat food with me? And so I went upstairs and she even told like the therapist, like he literally handled that perfectly. That was hard to get myself to start to recognize that it wasn't a personal attack and to also like allow my feelings to process. And sometimes someone will, she'll say something that I just want to like rebuttal back. But then now I have that pause, that space you talk about, the space between like responding and that space honestly is so important. And now I take it because I cherish that space before I just start to spew out words. And, that's what you teach. It's like learning these. And again, they're micro adjustments. It's not some crazy big, like do this and everything's solved. It's like, no, you've got a lot of things to solve. It's a puzzle. But once you start putting the pieces together, you start to feel like you can handle anything and you stop the needy behaviors. You stop being so taking everything personally.
The simple action here to take to not make the mistake of being reactive, to step more into that masculine, strong frame that she feels safe with, is to simply, when next time you're talking to her, you can do the NLP technique, but just look at her in the eyes. Keep your heart open. Keep your body language open. Right? Don't get defensive. Breathe deeply. Open your body and say, this is okay. She should feel this way. Allow her to feel this way. And she will sense that acceptance of her instead of the dismissiveness and trying to change her. Even if you're trying to make her feel more positive. I just got off the call with the guys today in the group call. And one of the guys said, Josh, like, I'm a very optimistic person, but like, I try to show my wife the optimistic view of things, but she's so negative. She's negative in that moment, is how she feels. But by trying to make her feel positive, you're dismissing how she feels. Allow it to be, and then that pain will go away, right? That's the paradox. Speaking of another paradox, the third paradox or mistake here is being the victim. And then that plays into the dichotomy paradox we'll talk about in a second. So why is being a victim so damaging? Well, first let's talk about what being a victim is. It is very subtle. I know you're not sitting there complaining, like whining like a little baby. Hopefully you're not. Victimhood is subtle. It comes off when you're talking to your friend about your wife and you're like, man, if she just went to therapy with me, like things would be different. If she wasn't hanging out with her divorced friends so much, she wouldn't feel this way as much. Like we were making progress and then her divorced friends got in her ear. It's subtle. But what that's doing is that's taking your power away. You see, follow this logic. She needs to know that you've truly changed in order for you to get the opportunity for her to come back. She doesn't want to go back to the way things were. You know this. The only way for you to change is to take full accountability for your actions. Do you see this? Any subtle defending yourself, overanalyzing, trying to change her perception of things, putting the power outside of yourself. I know she's not perfect. I know it's also her fault. I do get that. The reason why I'm so hard on you about this is because I know that when you change fully, she will follow. I'm not working with women, am I? What good would it be for me to tell you that your wife should also change? It takes your power away. Every individual person should change their own behavior. Stop blaming things outside yourself. It hurts to take full ownership. I know that hurts. It sucks. Man, I haven't been the best husband. I've been lazy. I've been complacent. Own it. You're allowed to make mistakes. God gives grace. By you fully owning it and believing it, communicating, living through that, slowly over time, she will feel safer. She'll be like, oh, he's gonna change. You see how that works? It's so counterintuitive because your ego doesn't want to change. You want to stay the same. You don't want to feel like you've done something wrong, and I get that, but you're allowed to make mistakes, okay? So own it now. The paradox here is that it's not about you, but it's because of you. This goes back to what we were saying earlier about your behavior versus who you are as a man. The fact that your wife's leaving you when you're in your marriage situation where it's not as good as it should be, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means you made some mistakes along the way. You operated from some incorrect actions, some incorrect software, if you will. And now by having an updated software system, by learning things you didn't know, you can take correct action. So recognize that your marriage started to fall apart because you didn't know that when she tests you, she's searching for love. You didn't know that you should be the leader, right? You didn't know that you shouldn't try to use logic with her emotions, but now you know these things. So now you take full ownership of them. In the book, The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz says, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. Yes, it's about you, but it's not because you weren't good enough.
She felt so safe when I was able to say, here are my values. Here's how I failed to live to them in our relationship. Here's how that failure affected you. Here's how it affected both of your sons. Here's how it affected my kids. It's not your fault. I wasn't living to my values before I met you. And that was powerful. That was powerful. That was the key pivotal moment for me individually and for us in our relationship.
I want to stay here for a second because that right there is extreme ownership, right?
Sure.
But it's it's pretty much the opposite of like that ego of like, you're her fault, not me. And you're like, this is about me and what I've done. Now, I'm trying to speak to you as if you were in the complete opposite domain of that.
I want you, for the simple action, to write down 5 reasons why it's not your fault. And then I want you to take those reasons on the paper, scratch them out, and then write 5 reasons why it actually is this situation, okay? No more excuses. The 4th mistake is harboring resentment, not forgiving. So many men gloss over this one. They think that forgiveness is a little check mark. Okay, I forgave my wife. No, forgiveness is the dial you constantly turn every single day. Now, the reason why it's so important to master understanding how to let go of resentment and forgive is because I've seen countless times a client will come to us and he never accepted the fact that the things she said over the years, the way she treated him, the lack of sex, talking to that other guy, having an emotional affair, that hurt. He never allowed himself to feel that pain. So when he felt safe enough that she came back, guess what he did? He sabotaged. He unloaded on her. He said and did things to dismiss her, to make, guess what happened? If she comes back to you and then you mess it up again, man, it's just a lot harder to get it back, okay? Now, the reason why this happens is because a lot of guys, they're so focused, they're drowning. You're literally drowning in water and you're just reaching for a life raft or something to pull you out of the water. And because of that, you're not taking inventory of your own emotions. You're so filled with anxiety, you just want to relieve the anxiety, but there's layers to your emotions. And the deeper the emotion, that's what you should focus on first. And so healing your resentment, forgiving her, that's going to clear the slate. So then you can take proper action moving forward. One of the best exercises or reframes that really helps guys forgive their wife is that oftentimes when she's done things to hurt you, you have to recognize this as truth when I say right here. She did not do so out of maliciousness, out of wanting to hurt you. She did not. She was so focused on the self. She was in pain. She was drowning, that she was thrashing around just trying to breathe herself and she pulled you underwater without realizing it. You have to recognize this as fundamental truth. Her saying the things she said, just leaving space, like not being around the kids, like not thinking of it. When our brains are in fight or flight, we're in survival mode. Our prefrontal cortex shuts down. Our amygdala gets activated, the fear center of the brain. We are unable to forward think as much. We're in a state of hypervigilance. But you've lacked that empathy yourself and done things in the state of anxiety that hurt her, especially out of fear. This is what fear does. It clouds judgment. It clouds truth. So recognize yourself that she did not do these things to hurt you. Forgive her ignorance. Forgive her. Let go, breathe, create wisdom. Wisdom is a memory without emotion. Go back to those different memories of pain and have a new perspective of this woman, this little girl trapped in a woman's body, just trying to find love the way she can and safety, doing what she could with all the best she could, even if it hurt you.
And I would say one of the biggest things for us, like just the past 10 years, like we did let resentment on both sides build up. So we both had walls. And it just continued and continued. This small thing would turn into this big thing. And by the end of the argument, we didn't even know what started it. All this other stuff would fester up that we both would be holding on to.
Right.
So for me, it was looking at the negative habits that created that resentment between us. It was looking at my triggers that would get me either angry or just get me to shut off and figuring out what that was. And so I did a lot of the meditating and the breathe work to let go of like past trauma, because that was something I didn't even know about. Like I talked to my buddy about it and he's like, it seems like you're holding on to like past trauma that's affecting what's going on now. So learning to let go of that and even let go of the hurt that we caused each other over the past 10 years. So that was the first step, was like, you need to let go, leave the past in the past. Don't forget about it, learn from it, but you need to let go of it. You need to move on from it.
Now, the paradox here from the mistake is to sit in the pain, but also let it go. When you're gonna go through this as a simple action, I want you to feel that pain or that anger, that resentment, that whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel it by yourself in a safe place. And that pain will work through you. I know it is scary to sit in pain and resentment. It hurts. It literally hurts. It's the same brain of that emotional pain and physical pain that get activated in the same part of the brain. It's the same physical experience, emotional experience almost, right? So I understand the desire to not go into that, but you must sit in the pain. And the more you sit in it and allow yourself to feel that emotion, the easier it is to let go. Now, the best way that we found to do this is through our community and our coaches who've practiced with thousands of hours with our clients and able to help them sit through that pain, and they get immediate results. Now, if you want the opportunity to fast track your results with your wife, have a call with our team down below, a free strategy call. Just make sure you're fully invested, ready to take different action, okay? Let's jump into the last paradox, last mistake. All right, the last biggest mistake I see guys make, especially when they first come into our program, is they're hyper-fixated on their wife, on the outcome. I know it seems, all these paradoxes are illogical, right? So you're already in that realm with me. I know it seems illogical that like how do I get my wife back without trying to get my wife back? It is a paradox. Look, this is just the way it is. After 11 years of doing this with thousands of clients and all the marriages saved, I couldn't show so much certainty from about to say if I didn't see it. There is a binary state of being of, I'm focused on my wife. Let's look at this guy first. I'm focused on getting my wife back. I'm coming from a place of anxiety. I'm texting her. I'm trying to convince her. I'm doing whatever it takes to stop drowning. When you're so focused on her, that's why you're making these changes. You're putting the motivation for change outside of yourself. So if you're going to change for the thing outside of yourself, then when this thing goes away again, you're going to go back to default. It's just logical. But what a lot of men start to get within our program, they start to understand really quickly, they fast tracks their results, is they put the reason for changing for themselves, sometimes for God, okay, for being a better man in their community. When you focus on the process of like, I'm just going to be a better man for myself because I want to be the best version of myself. The reason why that's so powerful, so freaking powerful for her is because whether she's there or not, you're becoming a better man. You're fixing all the things that she complained about over the years, despite if she comes back. And so that tells her, oh, he's gonna be a changed man. Now I just got off a group call with the guys, like I said, I do it every Friday night. And one of the guys was like, Josh, I'm making these changes and she's getting more mad at me. She's being pissed off. She's saying things like, oh, now you're making these changes after I leave you? And she's talking to me less. I said, well, are you gonna stop making them? He goes, hell no, I'm never going back. I said, good, because over time, that anger and that resentment she has, it's gonna heal. I've seen this countless times. And if you stay consistent with the man that you're supposed to be, she'll notice. She's not out of your life, man. Just because she's not physically there does not mean she doesn't notice. She feels it. And over time, when she sees that you are that man and you're consistent with it, she will come back. You wanna know the ironic part about all this? Here's the kicker. I'm glad you stayed to the end of the video. The moment she decides to come back, your first thought is, do I even want her back? You probably will. You think, you know, my life is better with her, but she's gonna have to make some changes. When you get to that state, that's self-love. That's your standards, your boundaries. That's the man she wants. That's the man you used to be. You used to be focused on the process. You used to have fun. You used to be in your own energy, if you will, you know? And just over time, you become dependent on her love. You become habituated to, your nervous systems were so intertied, you didn't know yourself without her. But a woman needs a man to know himself, to feel safe with him. A man needs to be his own island, have his own code. And you started to sacrifice part of you, right? And then you were no more. So now she's giving you an opportunity. How's this an opportunity, Josh? How is it not? You were forged in the fire. Every amount of growth that you had in your life came from these deep, dark moments, dark night of the soul, where you were in hell, but you learned these lessons that you had to learn. This is an opportunity for you. Please do not let this opportunity go by you. Take some, whether it's through us, watching more of my videos that you're gonna watch in a second, do something different and take this opportunity to become a better man.
I think there's two paths here for a lot of guys. Like the first path is you're gonna give up, but you're gonna become a better person because of it. And you're gonna work on yourself. And through working on yourself, you'll learn to just walk away from something that clearly was not in your best interest or someone who's not in your best interest. Or by working on yourself, you'll actually attract that which you want back to you, which is your wife in this case, if that's what you choose. And so it became less about her at that point. So like I started working out 5 days a week. I got a babysitter in place. So that I could take personal time. I got a meal service set up. I got a laundry service set up to help out with all the stuff that I hadn't really helped out with for years. But then I started to do those tasks as well to see what the impact was. Started to become a better dad. Started I lost like 40 pounds in 2.5 months. I focused on my kids, focused on myself. I realized very quickly this course, I think, does like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 things. And maybe it saves relationships. Maybe that's the goal. I don't think that's the goal. I think really the core value is it's to save men. I think that's the value that it has.
I learned that I was operating from a place of fear. My actions and the things that I was saying were coming from a place of fear. What if I do this, how will she react? How is she going to respond to this? Is she going to be upset? Is she going to be angry? Do I say it now? Do I not say it now? Do I do it? Do I not do it? Such a thing. Until I had this unlock sometime in April, and I said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say what I feel is right if it is the right thing. I'm going to do what I do is right. And that was sort of the time when I started detaching myself from the outcome. Do the right things, say the right things, whatever is the outcome, face it.
Thanks for watching. Here's the video right here, another one I suggest that you watch. Set up a call with our team if you need help. We're here for you. Cheers.